You open your mouth, your dentist leans in. 10 seconds pass. In those 10 seconds, they've already found 3 things you didn't know were there. You think they're just looking at your teeth. They're not. They're reading a map. A map of everything you've eaten, everything you've avoided, every stressful month you've had this year, and every habit you've never mentioned out loud. Your mouth cannot lie to a trained eye. That's the real story behind the chair. Start with the first thing most people get wrong. A dental exam isn't really about teeth. Teeth are just the part you can see in a mirror. What your dentist is actually scanning is a living ecosystem. Billions of bacteria live in your mouth right now, organized into structured communities called biofilms. The microbiologist J. William Costerton spent much of his career studying these biofilms, and one of his key findings changed how doctors and dentists think about bacterial disease entirely. Bacteria in a biofilm don't behave like bacteria floating alone. They build a shared shelter. They coordinate. They resist things that would easily kill them if they were isolated. That shelter is what you call plaque. So when your dentist scrapes at your teeth with a metal instrument, they're not just cleaning. They're breaking apart a structure that took days to build, one that your own saliva and food debris helped construct without your permission. Now think about the sound. That quiet, high-pitched click as the metal probe taps each tooth. Most patients assume it's routine. It's not. Your dentist is listening for a specific tone. A healthy tooth sounds solid. A tooth with decay underneath the surface sounds slightly different, sometimes almost imperceptibly duller. Dentists train their ears the way a mechanic trains theirs on an engine. They're not guessing. They're detecting a change in density before it ever shows up as a visible hole. Here's where it gets stranger. Most cavities don't start where you think they do. You picture a hole appearing on the surface first. In reality, a cavity often begins as an internal weakening, sometimes under enamel that looks completely intact from the outside. Acid produced by bacteria slowly dissolves mineral content beneath the surface before the surface itself collapses. By the time you can see a cavity in the mirror, the damage underneath is usually much further along than it appears. This is why your dentist relies on more than eyesight. X-rays reveal what enamel hides. Bite-wing X-rays, specifically, are angled to catch the tight contact points between your back teeth, the exact spots where cavities most often begin and where your toothbrush struggles to reach. Your dentist isn't just checking for holes. They're checking density, checking bone level around each root, checking for shadows that shouldn't be there. But teeth are only half the story. The other half is happening in your gums, and this is where most patients have almost no idea what's being measured. When a hygienist calls out a series of numbers during your cleaning, they're not narrating randomly. They're measuring the depth of the pocket between your gum and your tooth using a tiny ruler called a periodontal probe. A healthy pocket measures around 1 to 3 millimeters. Anything deeper is a signal. It means the attachment between gum and tooth is breaking down, usually from bacterial inflammation that hasn't reached a level you can feel yet. This matters more than most people realize, because gum disease doesn't announce itself with pain the way a cavity does. It progresses quietly. Researcher Robert Jenko, whose work at the University at Buffalo helped establish the modern understanding of periodontal disease, was among the first to show a measurable connection between gum inflammation and conditions elsewhere in the body, including cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Your mouth isn't a separate system. It's connected to the rest of you in ways a routine cleaning quietly monitors. So while you're sitting there, slightly bored, staring at the ceiling tiles, your dentist is cross-referencing a dozen data points. Pocket depth, bleeding on probing, bone level from your last X-ray, whether your gum line has receded since your previous visit, whether one specific tooth is under more pressure than the others. That pressure question leads somewhere most people never expect. Your bite. Every time you clench your jaw, chew unevenly, or grind your teeth at night, your teeth record it. Dentists look for wear patterns, tiny flattened areas on the biting surface, small fracture lines called Kray's lines, and sometimes chips that patients don't even remember happening. If your dentist asks whether you've been stressed lately, it's not small talk. Worn enamel and jaw tenderness are two of the most common physical signs of nighttime grinding, a habit called bruxism that many people do in their sleep without any memory of it. Now picture the mirror again, the one your dentist holds and rotates slowly around your mouth. It isn't only checking teeth and gums. Oral cancer screening happens during nearly every routine exam, even though almost no patient notices it happening. Your dentist is checking the soft tissue. Your tongue, the floor of your mouth, the inside of your cheeks, the roof of your mouth, even your lymph nodes near your jaw and neck. They're looking for anything unusual. A patch of white or red tissue that doesn't wipe away, a sore that hasn't healed in the expected time, a lump that shouldn't be there. Most of the time, they find nothing concerning. But that 30-second check is one of the most valuable things happening in the entire appointment, precisely because early detection changes outcomes so significantly. At this point, you might be wondering how anyone keeps track of all of this in a single 15-minute appointment. The answer is pattern recognition built from repetition. A dentist who has examined thousands of mouths develops something close to an instinct. They notice a tooth that looks slightly out of place compared to its neighbors. They notice a color shift in the gum tissue that a patient would never think twice about. They notice when your bite has shifted since last year, sometimes before you felt any discomfort yourself. There's a reason dental researchers describe early tooth decay and gum disease as largely silent processes. Pain is often one of the last symptoms to appear, not one of the first. By the time you feel something, the underlying issue has frequently existed for months. This is precisely why the routine exam exists. It's designed to catch what your nerves haven't caught yet. Consider your tongue for a moment, because your dentist is reading that too. The coating on your tongue, its color, its texture, even slight swelling along the edges where it presses against your teeth, can hint at dehydration, mouth breathing habits, or irritation patterns you're not consciously aware of. None of this shows up in a symptom you describe to anyone. It shows up as a visual detail a trained eye catches in passing. And what about that faint clicking sound when you open and close your mouth wide? Your dentist hears that too. It can indicate movement in your jaw joint, the temporomandibular joint, sometimes linked to clenching, sometimes simply a structural variation. It's one more data point folded into the larger picture they're building about how your mouth functions as a whole system, not just a collection of separate teeth. By the end of the exam, your dentist has assembled something closer to a diagnostic profile than a simple checklist. Bone density trends from your X-ray history. Soft tissue changes since your last visit. Pocket depth measurements across dozens of individual points. Wear patterns suggesting stress or grinding. Signs of dietary habits, whether from acid erosion patterns that suggest frequent soda or citrus consumption, or from decay patterns that suggest snacking habits between meals. Every one of these details tells a small piece of a much larger story about your daily life, one you never explicitly told them. This is the part most patients miss entirely. You walk in thinking you're getting your teeth cleaned. What's actually happening is closer to a full-body diagnostic scan, narrowed down to one very information-dense region of your body. Your mouth heals slowly, scars easily, and holds evidence of habits for months or years after they've stopped. A dentist trained to read that evidence isn't just checking for cavities. They're reconstructing a timeline. So the next time you sit back and open your mouth for those brief few minutes, remember what's actually happening on the other side of that light. It isn't a quick glance. It's closer to a physician reading an X-ray, a detective examining evidence, and a historian piecing together a timeline, all happening at once, all within the span of one routine appointment. You open your mouth. Your dentist leans in, and in those same 10 seconds,